Hi, Nayara. Good morning. Good to see you. Are you okay? Oh, all right. Very good to see you. Oh, okay. No problem, Nayara. That's okay. Don't worry. Hi, Sayani. Good morning. Hello, dear. Good to see you. How was your weekend, Sayani?
Good morning. Good.
Good. Okay, all right. Are you studying now at school? Are your classes back to presential now?
Yes.
Yes, wow. Are you going to school every day?
Só terça, quinta e sexta.
Oh, okay. All right. Only 3 times a week. Okay, much better. All right, girls. So let's check our page on Google Classroom. Let's take a look there to see what we have for today. So let's share here. All right. So girls, today we finish Unit 9, okay? And for that, we're going to do page 61. So we are approaching our next test, which will be from Unit 7, 8, and 9, okay? And we are going to practice today the use of should have and would have. So it's a review of Unit 9, okay, in other words. And I would like to know first if you did your homework from last week. Let's check it out and see here. Okay, so last week I posted worksheet, actually 2 worksheets for you to do. And there's also a writing task on Unit 9. Remember. So did you do the homework? No?
Não.
Oh my God. So try to do now, okay? Because we are approaching our test. We have an upcoming test now from Unit 7, 8, and 9. And this homework will help you prepare, okay, for your test. All right. So here, let me show you again our topics for today and also for Thursday. On Thursday, this week, we start reviewing, okay? So if you have your books, open your books to page 61, okay? So let's go there. All right, can you see the page? This page actually we did last class. Remember, we talked about appropriate etiquette, talking to an etiquette expert, and there were some interesting words here. Yes, can you see that? So we saw words like offended, inappropriate, obnoxious, etiquette, acceptable, and thoughtless. Do you remember what obnoxious is? Do you remember that? Cheyenne and Nayara? What's the meaning of obnoxious? Do you know? Remember we talked about it last class? Obnoxious is the same as weird, strange. Okay? Yes, very nice. And thoughtless. Do you know the meaning of thoughtless? Do you remember? Okay, very good. Yes, inconsiderate when you don't really take the person's feelings into account. Okay? All right, girls. So remember to review those words, right? Do your homework. Let's take a look now at our page for today. Okay, this is page 61. And here we will talk about a review actually of Unit 9, the main topic of Unit 9, okay, which is the combination of should plus have plus past participle. When I talk about things that happened in the past and I'm making comments about it, I'm just saying, I should have done differently, or I shouldn't have gone to that party. Now I have COVID, right? Suppose there was a party a month ago and you decide to go to this party and there were a lot of people there. So now you have all the symptoms of COVID-19. Okay, terrible. Then you say, oh, I shouldn't have gone to that party because now I'm sick, right? So let's say here, I'm going to write it down. I shouldn't have gone to that party. So this is when you make comments about something that happened already. Okay, it's in the past. Okay, people, look at the questions on the board game. Think about how you would answer them. Okay, so let me just zoom in here so you can see better. Okay. Yes, can you see better now? Okay, girls, so let's try to imagine we were in the situations described here. Okay, so the first one, name something you shouldn't, because here, guys, this should be a game, all right? That's why we have the start here, and then we have the finish. So if we were in a presential situation, we could play this game normally using a coin and then moving one space or two spaces, okay? But since we are just online, I'm going to go through all the questions, especially because we need to practice. Okay, so let's take a look. The first one, name something you shouldn't have done but enjoyed doing. So for example, like the one I gave here, sorry, I went, suppose it's not true, okay? I didn't go to any party, but suppose I went to a party last month, right? The party was a lot of fun. All my friends were there. The food was excellent. The music was great. But we didn't worry about the pandemic. We just had fun. So now, what should I say? I shouldn't have gone to that party, right? So I did something that I shouldn't have, but I enjoyed doing. Yes, I enjoyed. The party was great, but I shouldn't have gone because now I'm not okay. I'm sick. Okay. So, can you give me an example of something that you shouldn't have done, but you enjoyed doing? Don't worry. I will not tell anyone. Okay. Your secret is safe with me. So I will let you think a little, okay? I will give you 2 minutes to think about an answer to this one, okay? I will go get some water because my throat is dry. and I'll be right back. Okay.
Não, falta o dinheiro dela. Se ela deu o boleto pra cá, se ela te deu o boleto. Então, foi em fevereiro, no caso, dia 2.
Hi, Sarinha. Good morning. Hi, Sarah. Good morning. Good to see you. All right, people. So let's take a look. Do you have an answer to that? The first one? Shayani, can you tell me? So let me help you, okay, girls? I will try to make it, let me just open a Word document here so we can take some notes on the side, okay? I will go one by one and showing you how we can answer those questions, all right? So let me just open the Word document here. Okay, people. Can you see the two windows I have here? Can you see, Jayane? Okay, I'm back to our page, okay? All right, so let's try to do it. I'm going to write the answers on a Word document and then I will send the file to you, okay, people? I think it's better. So let's see the first one here. Name something you shouldn't have done but enjoyed doing. So let's have an idea here. I'm going to open a document, a Word document, okay, and I'll share that with you. So let's write down here. Let me make it bigger. So the first one, I shouldn't have, the example I gave, okay? I shouldn't have gone to that party. Now I'm sick. Okay, guys, so I went to the party, but now I feel sorry because I got sick. I went to the party, I had fun, I talked to a lot of people. Nobody was wearing a mask. We all had fun, we drank, we ate, we danced. Everything was good. But unfortunately, now I'm sick. So I shouldn't have gone to that party. Okay, guys? So let me just put a topic here. Just let me just write a topic here so we know what we are doing. So we are doing Unit 9. Speaking. This is page 61. Okay, guys. And then we can practice that a little bit more. Let's do it in a different way, okay? So let's see number 2. Okay, so back to our book. The second one. Talk about a decision, a big decision you made. Would you have done the same thing again? What do you think? Do you understand the question? So here it's about a big decision. For example, suppose I decided to stop everything and apply for Big Brother. Okay, I want to participate and Big Brother. And suppose I sent my application and they called me for an interview. So I had an interview with Boninho. Okay. I talked to Boninho and then he said, Simone, do you think you can participate in this reality show? And then I would say, to be honest, I don't think so. I don't think so because it's too crazy. Okay. So I suppose I just gave up during the interview. Okay. I decided not to participate. So it was a big decision I had to make, right? Because I was giving up, right? I gave up my dream. So let's suppose this happened. So would you have done the same thing again now? Let's say now, watching all the things that are happening there, I think I would have done the same thing. Yes, I was lucky I gave up. So suppose I applied and I gave up right there at the interview. I would have done the same for sure. Okay. Because there are a lot of crazy people there. It's something complicated. It's very difficult. Don't you think, guys? Don't you think it's difficult? It's very hard, okay? You have a lot of arguments, different people living together. You can't go out, right? So it's complicated. So um, if I had, for example, to do something else, I wouldn't have done the, I wouldn't have accepted. I would have done the same thing, okay? So let's write down. Now back to our Word document here. Let's go there. Okay. So if I had to decide again, if I had to choose again, I would have done the same thing. Okay. So let me just minimize here. All right. So I gave up on my dream to participate in BBB, and I would have done the same thing. Okay. It's too crazy. The game is too complicated, right? So, number 3. All right, people. Now, let's go back to the book again. Sorry. Okay. So, we've done this one. Okay. I'm just annotating here so you know that we've done. Hi, Jayani. Welcome back. Good to see
Ai,
you again.
minha internet caiu.
Oh, it's okay. No problem, Jayani. That's okay. It happens to me a lot yesterday. My connection crashed all the time
Aqui é
yesterday.
assim, começa a chover, aí
Yeah,
trava tudo, aí cai.
yeah, it's terrible. Here, it's the same thing. It's the same thing here. So we've done this one, okay, and we've already done this one here, okay. Now let's see the third one. What decade would you have enjoyed living in? What decade would you have enjoyed living in? Suppose you have a chance to choose, right? Now we are in 2021, right? So let me put here. So we are living in the 20s, okay, after the year 2000. So this is the decade 20s, right? In other words. But this is the 20s in the 21st century, right? So, but which decade in the past would you have enjoyed living in if you had a chance? Mhm. Whoa. Mhm. So let's create a sentence, okay? An appropriate sentence for that. Let me open up our Word document and make a sentence. If I could, I would have enjoyed living in, let's see one example. I would have enjoyed living in the, let's say, suppose in the 70s. Why the 70s? Because of the music, right? The music in the 70s was really nice. There were great artists, and um, also the habits of the people in the 70s. I think that was a nice decade. Okay. So this is the way you should answer. I would have enjoyed living in the 70s because if you ask me, for example, suppose I didn't live in the 70s, I didn't enjoy the songs, the fashions, everything. So if I didn't, that's my wish. Now, if I had a chance to go back, to get a time machine and go back in the past, I would have enjoyed living in the 70s. Okay, now let's go to number 4. Let's open up the book back again. Let's see here. So we've done this one. Okay, guys, I want to hear your opinion. I want to know what you have to say at some point. Okay, next one. Name something you shouldn't have done when you were a teenager. Something that you shouldn't have done. You are all teenagers now, right? So it's difficult to say something that you shouldn't have done. So if you tell me, Simone, is there anything that you shouldn't have done when you were a teenager? I was a very quiet teenager. I didn't do much, to tell you the truth. I studied a lot. This is something that I certainly did, but I don't remember doing anything wrong. But anyway, let's suppose, okay? So let's go to our, I shouldn't have, for example, I shouldn't have done a technical course because I did a technical course for high school. So I didn't do a regular high school. I did a technical course. And now think about it, I think I shouldn't have done that because I didn't enjoy technical topics so much. I only did those things because my parents wanted me to. So I shouldn't have done a technical course because, sorry, I don't like um, I don't like those topics, indeed. Really, I prefer to talk about languages. I like art. I like. I really enjoy art. So technical topics are not really my cup of cake. I don't like that. My cup of tea. Sorry, my piece of cake. I mix them up. I think I'm hungry. So technical topics is not really my cup of tea. I don't like those things so much, right? So I shouldn't have done a technical course because I don't like technical topics. What about you? What do you think you shouldn't have done? Even though you were young, you were still a teenager, you may have some things that you regret that you don't really think you should have done. But anyway, think about it, right? You can write down and tell me. So this one is also done. I will just put an X here so you know, okay? Let me erase this one and this one here so you can read it. I don't want to eliminate the possibility so you can read it, okay? Let me just look. Just to highlight the topic we are practicing, okay? And then marking the ones that we've done already. Guys, so as you can notice, since the beginning, we are trying to answer the questions here from a game that is supposed to be played in class, right? So here we have like a board game with several steps, and you can flip a coin to move one space or two spaces. There are lots of questions, right? And before we continue, I would like to show you a short video about the uses of should have and would have. I know you already know that, but I just want to reinforce because maybe you still feel a little unsure. Okay, you're not so confident using that. Okay, guys. So I will show that video now. Just a moment. Let me minimize here. Okay, so let's see this link. I posted this link for you on Google Classroom. You already have it there. So if for some reason your connection doesn't work, I will post the link again on the chat board so you can reach this link on your cell phone, okay? So let me post again here. It's there for you, okay? Oh, I posted to Nayara. Sorry. Let me post again. Okay, guys. Now I posted to everyone. Okay, let's see that.
Buddy, my name is Alicia. In this lesson, I'm going to talk about could have, should have, and would have, what they mean, how to use them in the negative, and the differences between them. So let's get started. First, I want to begin with could have. Let's look at the positive and the negative meanings of could have. First, positive. We use could have, positive, for something that was possible in the past. So to give kind of an image of this, if our conversation is happening now, when we use could have, we're talking about something that had possibility in the past, something we were able to do, for example. An example sentence, if I had known you were throwing a surprise party, I could have helped. I could have helped. So here, could have shows us that this action, helping, was possible in the past. In this case, the speaker did not know some information, and as a result, this action did not happen, but it was possible at a point in the past. The speaker could have helped. Helping was a possibility in the past. So we use could have to express that possibility. The negative form, however, expresses the opposite. So in the negative, could not have expresses something that was impossible, so not possible in the past. So here, if we want to give an image, it's something that was not possible, something we were not able to do. Let's look at an example of this. No, that couldn't have been Sarah in the cafe just now. She's at the office. So here, I'm using couldn't have, could not have, contracted, reduced, becomes couldn't. So that couldn't have been Sarah in the cafe just now. In other words, it's impossible that just now we saw Sarah in the cafe. Why? She's at the office. So in this case, maybe Sarah is the speaker's colleague, coworker. So we know Sarah is at the office. So we saw someone maybe who looks like Sarah at the cafe just now. But it's not possible it was Sarah because Sarah's at the office. So we can say that couldn't have been. So it's impossible that that was Sarah. So couldn't have been sounds much more natural than it's impossible that that was Sarah. So we use couldn't have been or could not have been. So positive form, something that was possible in the past. So be careful in maybe contrast. A key difference here is this is only about possibility. We're not talking about like a plan to do something or regret necessarily. We're only talking about possibility when we use could or could not here. So with this, let's move along to the next part. The next part, I want to focus on should have. So let's look at the positive form. Should have in the positive expresses regret for something we did not do in the past. So an image of this here, if our conversation is happening now, we want to talk about something we did not do in the past, and that now maybe we think, oh, it's a good idea, like I should have done this thing. I did not do this thing in the past. That's why I marked it with an X here. So I did not do this thing, but I feel bad now. I feel regret. Like I should have done that thing in the past. So an example sentence of this. I should have studied more when I was in school. Here is the should have. I should have, and this action, studied more. So, in other words, the speaker did not study enough in the past. The speaker feels he or she did not study enough in the past, regrets that, and wants to express the change. Like, I wish I had done this thing. I should have studied more when I was in school. So here we have more. This is a common pattern with should have or should not have. When we use more, it means I should have studied more than I did when I was in school. So here, the speaker is expressing regret, sadness about something they did not do. Therefore, when we use the negative form, the speaker, again, expresses regret, yes, but they're expressing regret for something that happened in the past, something they did in the past. So I've marked it here with a check. This action did happen, and we feel regret about that action. We feel bad about something we did in the past. An example, I shouldn't have spent so much time playing video games when I was a kid. So here I've used shouldn't have. So should not have is how we make the negative form. I've reduced it shouldn't have in rapid speech, shouldn't have. I shouldn't have spent so much time playing video games. So what's the action here? The speaker played video games when he or she was a child. The speaker now regrets that. The speaker says, I shouldn't have spent so much time. I should have spent less time playing video games. So I could use positive should have. I should have spent less time playing video games when I was a kid. Here, I shouldn't have spent so much time. So here, a key point with should have is that we're expressing regret. Remember, with could have, we're talking just about possibility. With should have, we're expressing a regret for something that did or did not happen in the past. So, with this in mind, let's go on to the last point for this lesson. The last point is would have, would have. So, when we say would have, we often say would have, would have. I mentioned it here with should have, we say should have or shouldn't have. Same thing with could have, like could have or couldn't have is the correct pronunciation in fast speech. So when we talk about would have, or when we look at would have, and we look at the positive form, we use it to express a plan for something that did not happen. So we're talking about something in the past. So from a point in the past, something in the future at that time, we had a plan for that thing, or we thought something was going to happen. But in the positive form, it did not happen. This is kind of tricky. Let's look at an example situation. Here, I would have arrived on time today, but there was terrible traffic, so I did not arrive on time. So first, here's my action. I would have arrived on time. So I had a plan, or I had a desire. I was thinking I was going to arrive on time. So at this point in time, I would have arrived on time today. Maybe we're thinking when I left the house, maybe this is where the action starts. My plan was to arrive on time. So again, this is all happening in the past. My conversation is here. I was planning to arrive on time, but there was terrible traffic. Terrible traffic means lots and lots of cars. It was difficult to drive or difficult to get to work. So I did not arrive on time. I would have arrived on time, but I didn't because of terrible traffic. So this shows us, this would have shows us all of this information, everything here happened in the past on like a timeline. So I thought I was going to arrive on time, something happened and I didn't. So we can use would have to show like our thinking in this point, would have in the past, about a future action that is also in the past. So a couple of past points there at the same time. Okay, so let's compare this then to the negative form. The negative form then expresses the opposite. So we have a lack of plan or a lack of a desire. So lack of something means no plan or no desire. So lack of plan for something that happened in the past. It did happen, yes. So we commonly use both of these to talk about other people's choices, like when we're giving advice. This example sentence is a very common way that we use would not have or wouldn't have. Let's look. If I were you, I wouldn't have quit my job before I found a new position. So here is my would not have. I've reduced it to wouldn't have. I would not have quit my job before I found a new position. So that means if I were you, this is how we're beginning this. This is a very common way that this would have or would not have is used. So if I were you, I'm not you, but if I were, at this point in time in the past, my decision would not have been to quit my job. However, your decision was to quit your job. This did happen. You quit your job. In my case, I would not have done that. So here, in opposite to the positive form, I'm talking about a point in the past, like if I were you, just in general, and I'm talking about a future decision I might make. In this case, the person listening did choose to quit his or her job. I'm saying I would not have quit my job. That would not have been my decision for the future. So again, there's kind of this idea of 2 points in the past, like a kind of a general, I guess, a starting point in the past, if I were you in this case, and some decision, some plan, some like desire or lack of desire in this case in the negative form. So we use these, like I said, to talk about like other people's choices when we're giving advice. Like, oh, if I were you, I would have done this in the past. So we use would have to talk about past decisions and maybe to talk about things like if you were the speaker, like things you might change. What would you do differently? So we use this to talk about these sorts of past decisions and give advice and talk about how we might make different decisions in the future. So this kind of expresses a desire or lack of desire. This one, should have, expresses regret in the past. Could have expresses possibility. So this is just a quick introduction to the differences between these three expressions and their negative forms. I didn't write the not here, so would not have. But if you have any other questions about this, please let us know in the comments. They are very similar, I know. They sound very similar, and it can be hard to understand how to use them, but try to keep these three kind of themes in mind. Possibility and regret, and then kind of desire or advice here. So I hope that this helps you understand the differences between these three. If you have questions or comments, or if you want to practice making an example sentence, please feel free to do so in the comment section of this video. Of course, if you like the video, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to our channel, and check us out at EnglishClass101.com for some other things that can help you with your English studies. Thanks very much for watching this lesson, and I will see you again soon. Bye-bye.
Okay, girls, that was very nice, wasn't it? So just reviewing here, she showed three different forms, okay? Could have, should have, and would have, all right? So we use could have to talk about something that was possible in the past, or in the negative, impossible in the past. Should have, we use to talk about regrets. Regret, if you don't know the meaning of this word, regret is the same as arrependimento in Portuguese, okay? When we regret something, it's because we feel sorry about something we did or somebody else did in the past. And so we to express that, we use should have or shouldn't have. That's the idea of regret. We also use should have when I talk about somebody's choice, when I'm giving advice to a person, but now the action happened already. I can say, oh, you should have tried to participate in the reality show. You should have continued your application. You shouldn't have given up. So this is somebody telling me what I should or shouldn't have done. We can say that as well. And the next one here is would have or would not have. When I give advice, and also when I share with someone my desire or my lack of desire about something, okay? So for example, if you ask me for advice on maybe looking for a job nowadays, suppose you want to work for a clothing store inside a mall, right? Suppose you want to work for Forever 21. Forever 21 is a clothing store, and you decide to work there now. And I say, if I were you, I wouldn't work there because I think it's not a good idea. Now, the present moment, you're asking me, okay? And I say, now I wouldn't work there. So I just use would and the verb in the base form. Now, if we are talking about a past situation. Then suppose you say, listen, Simone, I have to stop studying in the morning because I got a job. And I say, oh, really? How nice. Good for you. Where is it? And then you say, oh, I'm working for a store in a shopping mall now. I decided to get a job at a shopping mall, even though it's closed and everything. There are not so many people, but yeah. And then I say, oh my God, really? Why? How come? Right? You decided to work for a clothing store in a shopping mall at this moment because there are not so many customers around, right? Not so many people. And then I can say, oh, if I were you, I wouldn't have accepted a job in a clothing store. Suppose, okay? Of course, guys, this is only an example, right? But in reality, we need to find a job anywhere, okay? But just to give an example, to say what I would have done if I were in your position, okay? If I were in your shoes. So guys, if you need or if you want to watch this video again, you have the link I posted there already, okay? So let's go back to our book and see if we can make uh, some of those questions here, if we can answer actually some of those questions. So now I think you understand better, right? The questions that we've already answered. The first one, name something you shouldn't have done but enjoyed doing. So here it's regret, the feeling of regret, something that when you did, you liked, you enjoyed, but now you think that that wasn't a good idea. So you shouldn't have done that. Okay, so the example I gave here, look, let me show you. Amanda wasn't here in the beginning, right? So let me show you the example I gave. The first one, I shouldn't have gone to that party. Now I'm sick. Okay, so suppose I went to a party last month and there were a lot of people. The party was great, but now I regret. I feel sorry because I got sick. I got COVID-19. So I shouldn't have gone to that party. Okay, that's the feeling of regret. All right, people. Let's see the second question again. Look, talk about a big decision you made. Would you have done the same thing again? So here we are talking about this, the third example she gave using would have to talk about probably desire or lack of desire. Do you think you would have done, do you think you would have the desire to do the same thing again if you had a chance? Okay, so it's like just making a comment about a big decision you made in the past. Okay, then I gave another example. Look, let's see the example there. Look, I gave up on my dream. I gave up. Gave up is desistir, okay? In the past, I gave up on my dream, suppose, to participate in BBB, the reality show, and I would have done the same thing. I would have done the same thing if I had a chance to do uh, the same thing now. For example, suppose I applied for the reality show in 2020, okay? last year, suppose, because every year they have openings for participants, okay? So suppose, just to be um, more explanatory here, I applied, suppose, in 2020, last year, okay? But I gave up. I decided not to do it. So I gave up on my dream to participate in BBB in 2020. And in 2021, again, I would have done the same thing. Okay, if I had a chance to apply, I probably would have given up. So if I gave up last year, I would have done the same thing in 2021. Why? Because I know it's very difficult. I know it's very complicated. So probably I would have done the same thing. Okay. Just an example. Okay, people. Of course, I think it must be a lot of fun and also difficult at the same time, but a lot of fun. All the parties and everything, right? So, okay, let's see the third one. Oops, sorry. The third one is, what decade would you have enjoyed living in? So here again, she's using would have. Okay, the exercise is giving would have. So I'm talking about desire. Okay, something that maybe we would have liked to do, but in this case here, we didn't do. But if we had a chance, if we had a chance, we would have enjoyed, we would have liked. Okay, so here it's just about desire. Which decade do you think you would have enjoyed living in? Then I put an example. Look, look, I would have enjoyed living in the 70s, right? In the 1970s. Why? Because of the music of the 70s, because of the vibe, the, the environment, everything, the fashion of the 70s. I think it was really funny. But at the same time, it was exciting. So I think I would have enjoyed living in the 70s. What about you? Which decade would you have enjoyed living in if you had a chance? What do you think? The 80s. The 80s is nice too. Yeah, the music of the 80s was really good, just like the one in the 70s. So what do you think? Amanda, Jayene, Nayara can't speak, but you can write if you want. You can write on the chat. Sarah, which decade would you have enjoyed living in? No idea? No? Okay, no problem. You can think about it, right? And then later, if you want to share, you can share, right? Now, let's see the next question here. The next one. Let's see here. Name something you shouldn't have done when you were a teenager. So here, again, she's talking about regret, just like the first one, okay? So here, it's a situation of regret, something that you did, but now you feel sorry, okay? So what do you think? Something you shouldn't have done. Here, of course, everybody is a teenager here. You are teenagers. So it's difficult to imagine maybe something different. But I gave an example, right? Because I went to a technical school. Instead of going to high school, I did a technical school. I took a technical course. And I don't think that was a good idea. So I can say here, for example, I shouldn't have done a technical course because I don't like technical topics so much, right? So probably I should have done a regular high school, okay? I should have gone to high school instead of doing a technical course, probably, right? So I should have gone to high school. All right, people. Then this is one idea we can have, but I didn't. I did a technical course. Nowadays, probably I would have gone to a technical course, maybe. It depends on the topic, right? But I'm not very technical. So I shouldn't have done. This is something that I'm talking about a regret. I'm saying that maybe another course would have been better. Okay, that's the idea. Okay, girls. All right, so this is basically reviewing the topics of Unit 9. Okay, and here we have other questions that we can ask. Just to finish, I will go over the last two questions, okay? And if you have a chance, try to answer the other ones for homework, write the answers and send me so I can check for you, okay? It's good to practice. Let's see the last one, the second last one. Talk about your last vacation. Would you have done anything differently? So here, when I ask this question, I'm talking about desire, desire in the past, okay? So look, what is your desire now in relation to your last vacation? Would you have done anything differently? Would you have gone to another place? So let me think. My last vacation, I stayed home because of the pandemic, right? I didn't go anywhere. I just stayed home. Now the question, would you have done anything differently? No, I wouldn't have. Because last vacation, we were in a pandemic, so I couldn't go anywhere, right? So here, let's go to our answer. I wouldn't have done anything differently. I would have stayed home just the same, okay? Because we were in the pandemic, so all right, people. So I wouldn't have done anything differently, okay? Or anything different can also be, okay? It's also possible. So if you want, you can say, I wouldn't have done anything different. We were in a pandemic, so I couldn't have done anything different, okay? So back to our lesson. All right, people. So here we have the second last one, talking about a possible desire in the past, a desire that something maybe were different, but in this case, it wasn't possible to be different. So my desire today would have been the same, okay? So if I had a chance to change something about my vacation in the past, I would have done exactly the same. Okay? Now, the last one. Name something you shouldn't have bought. So here we are talking again about regret. Okay? When you feel sorry about something you did. In this case, it's in the negative. So unfortunately, you did it, right? So you bought something, but now you feel sorry. And then you think, oh, I shouldn't have bought this. But now it's too late. All you can do is try to resell to another person. Maybe, right? You go to Mercado Livre and then you try to sell what you bought because you don't want anymore. Okay, so can you say something that you shouldn't have bought? Let's just to finish, let's write the sentence. Okay, I'm going to write the sentence right there. Here. Okay, let's take a look. So this is a feeling of regret. Okay, so I shouldn't have bought a tablet. Yes, this is something that I shouldn't have bought. I bought a tablet in the past, but the tablet was very limited. The memory was very small and the processor wasn't good. So I shouldn't have bought a tablet because it was, or it wasn't, let's put here, it wasn't good enough. Okay. I shouldn't have bought a tablet because it wasn't good enough. I didn't like it. Nowadays, I don't even use this tablet because I can't do anything with it. So let me just, this is the corrector. So I shouldn't have bought a tablet because it wasn't good enough. All right, people. I will save this and send you the examples so you can practice. All right. So girls, before we go, let me just take a picture. And of course, I know that somebody left, I think Saria, right? She had to go probably. So let me stop sharing. Oh, just one thing. Sorry, girls. Let me just go back here. What did we learn today? I almost forgot that. Just to see, today we finished Unit 9 and we reviewed the uses of should have and would have. Okay, this is what we learned. Should have we use when we talk about regret, and would have is when we talk about a desire or a lack of desire in relation to something, or when we give advice to someone. Okay, girls, try to do the exercises I posted here. I posted one here. This is the link of the video, right? The link to the video we saw. And there are some other links that I posted to review topics from Unit 7, 8, and 9, the other units. Listen here, there is also some extra explanation about could have, should have, and would. Okay, girls. So do your exercise. Let's take a picture before we go.
Okay.
Let's take the picture then. Okay. All right, girls. Thank you very much for coming. And please come on Thursday, because on Thursday we will have our first day of review to prepare for the test. All right? Thank you, Nayara. Thank you, Amanda. Thank you,
Okay.
Jayane. See you.
Bye bye.
Bye-bye, dear. Take care.